So in this case here, we have Sam. He scored 80% on part A and 92% on part B, and he ended up with a total mark of 63. And the marks possible is 75 marks. So the whole bar here kind of represents 75 marks. And I need to get 63 marks on this test, but I need to split up the test from in A and B. So he got 80% on part A and 92% on part B. And if the total was 63 out of 75, that's a little bit more than 80%. So it looks like maybe we need to have a little bit more in part B. So I'm just going to put my partition here. And if I kind of shade in about 80% on part B, that's maybe about 80% there, and about 92% on part B, okay, that kind of looks like that might be out of 75 marks, total, the shaded area may be 63 out of 75. Okay, so it's really difficult to kind of tell based on that, and it's really hard to solve in this way. So we need to set this up as a system of equations because really there are two parts that we don't know. We don't know how much this part A is. We'll just keep that A, and we don't know how much that B part is. So that's the unknown parts. So we're going to set up a system based on those two variables, A and B. So what is the relationship between A and B? Well, we know that A plus B altogether must be 75 marks. Okay, so we're going to call that equation 1. That's one relationship. What else do we know? Well, we know we can get to the 63 marks if we take A and we take 80% of A, so I'm going to multiply that by 0.80. And if I take those marks, okay, so that would represent, and maybe I'll just shade that. Okay, so that's going to be based on the marks in part A. And I'm just going to get rid of some of the shading here. Reshade this part. Okay, and the other part is going to be, we're going to take the marks in part B, and we're going to multiply that by 92%, and that'll give us the marks that we got in the part B section. So this would represent the 92% in here. And what do we know about the blue and red shaded areas? Well, we know that the blue and red shaded areas must add up to the 63 marks out of 75 marks total. I'm just going to maybe write the 75 over here to get it out of the way. So that represents 63, the shaded area of that whole bar is 75. The two shaded areas together should represent 63 marks. So there's my system of equations. I have two variables, A and B, and I have two equations. So what I can do is I can either substitute or subtract to solve this equation. Now I'm going to just match the coefficient of 0.8. So I'm going to multiply equation number 1. I'm going to multiply both sides by 0.8. I get 0.8a times 0.8b, and 80% of 75 is, if I'm not mistaken, that's going to be 60. So 75 times 0.8 gives me 60 marks. So there's one equation. I'm going to subtract equation 2, which is 0.8a plus 0.92b, and that's going to be equal to 63 marks. So the a's cancel out. 0.8 minus 0.92 gives me negative 0.12 b's. That's going to give me negative 3. Okay, and if I divide negative 3 by 0.12, so I'm going to end up with 25 marks for part B. Okay, so that represents one of the solutions. This is a system, so I do need to solve for A. So using equation number 1, I know that A plus B, which is 25, is equal to 75 marks. So the A portion of the test represents 50 marks. Okay, so that's the other solution to this. Now, just to check to see that this actually makes sense, the way I drew this is quite poorly done. So I want to redo this. Okay, so there's my whole bar. In this case, B was a smaller part, wasn't it? Okay, so B is going to represent 25 out of the 50 marks. So maybe right about there. So 25 out of 75 marks. And for part B, we ended up getting 92%. So the 92%, we're going to shade 92% of this bar. Maybe that's right about to there. Okay, and then for part A, we got 80% on part A. So part A, that's maybe about 80% right there. Okay, and I'm going to write in the amounts here. 80% of 50 is 40 marks. Okay, 92% out of 25 marks is 23 marks. So we ended up with 23 marks on the part B section. So we ended up with the 63 marks total. Yep, that works out. This is correct.